Good morning, saints, snitches, and the rest of y'all still lying in the group chat. Welcome to Morning Tea and Allegations, where the devil gets no mic and the truth gets the final say. Just to get some. Hey, hey. She don't run on rumors, she run on receipts. Sanctified shade with the screenshots to preach. This ain't just gospel, it's gospel flow. She prays, she claps back and lets the spirit go. Bible in one hand, the docs in the other. She speaks with fire, can't silence the truth. Hosted by Bianca, the snitch with a mission. Calling it out, cause our children deserve better. Morning tea and allegations, pouring truth with no hesitation. Accountability in rotation. This is gospel education. Transparency is our foundation. Integrity leads the conversation. No rumor, no speculation. Just facts, receipts, and revelation. Morning tea and allegations, where faith walks bold through shady temptation. No fake tongues, no false relations. Just truth, conviction, and conversation. Morning tea and allegations. Snitches on the airwaves. Known again, yeah. Allegations. Snitches on the airwaves. Morning tea and allegations. Snitches on the airwaves.
Yes, indeed. Amen, amen, amen. Snitches are on the airwaves. Good morning. Good morning, good morning, good morning to you. And welcome to Morning Tea and Allegations, Season 4, Episode 3. And the title of today's episode is The Math Ain't Mathin'. Well, we have an action-packed show with a lot of different things going on, so let's go ahead and queue up all the things that we need, okay? Because we just need to go ahead and get started with our church announcements. Okay, so the Sunshine Education Coalition is kicking off the parent code, okay? And let me go ahead and share my screen so that you can see the flyer to this event and the QR code that you can scan if you desire to right now. But I'm going to post the links to everything that you need. But the session starts on August the 27th at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. The topic of the session is Discipline Policies 101. This is a great opportunity for you to learn about school discipline, your rights, and how to support your child through the process. So I'm going to put the link in the chat and the description in the comments here so that you have the opportunity to register, to sign up, because these events are very, very important. And I am thankful that y'all are here in the chat saying good morning. It means a lot to me. And I hope that as y'all are coming in, whether you're here live or you're a part of the replay ministry, that you speak up and you say something and you let me know that you're here and that you watching. Amen. Amen. Okay, so next on the church announcements, I'm just want to continue to uplift Canva. Canva has been the tool that I have used to create this program. And also I have a special video that I'm going to be playing today. So I can't wait to share that with you because we just have some questions. The last episode, I asked, is you cool? Okay, well, I'm here to tell you that there are some people that's not cool. They actually really, really hot. And we're going to talk about it on today's programming. Amen. And the last church announcement is in the preparation of the Morning Tea and Allegations. My Patreon is a great place for you to get the receipts, the behind the scenes, to learn more about what's on the docket, to even influence the docket. If there's some things that you want talked about, I appreciate the surveillance cameras that slide in my inbox, that reach out to me to say, hey, Bianca, did you see this? Did you see this? And I'm like, oh, ho, ho. Oh, hello. I sure did. In some cases, I did it, and I appreciate them sending me over the receipts. So, if you want to be one of those folks that are sending me receipts and having access to do so, then please join me in the Patreon community because that's where I give more access to the things that I talk about here. Okay. Okay, so let's go ahead and shift over to our disclaimers because that's really important that we go ahead and handle that piece. And so want you to govern yourselves accordingly to these disclaimers and these announcements. So yeah, let's go roll the clip.
Thank you, church members, as we have additional announcements and disclaimers that require your full attention. I am a certified snitch and whistleblower that reports on what is happening in our community. Like I always say, people lie, receipts don't. With that stated, the content used in this programming is protected under fair use. In addition, the views and opinions on this programming belong to me. I hold myself accountable and prioritize accuracy and truthfulness in my communications. So unless you have receipts, don't start with me. God is still working on me. I love the block button to protect my peace, and I desire to snitch on everybody, including me. Thank you for your attention and govern yourselves accordingly. Amen.
But God said post and let the record stand.
Yes, indeed. So govern yourselves accordingly to those announcements because we need to go ahead and get started. We have an action-packed show, like I said. We have a lot of things that are on the docket. So let's go ahead and take a trip to Oklahoma, okay? So the block is hot, y'all. I'm here to tell you, okay? The block is hot in Oklahoma. We have a superintendent that is making teachers from blue states pass an American First test before they can ever set foot in the classroom. Okay. Also, this is the same superintendent that is under investigation for explicit content that was on his office TV. And I want to unpack all of it. Okay. So let's talk about the American First exam. So Superintendent Ryan Walters. Yeah. So he partnered with PragerU. Sound familiar? To create a 50-question test. And this 50-question test is applying to teachers from states like California and New York. And they want educators to score 100% to be certified. Now, you might be asking, Bianca, well, what's on this test? Well, great question, because allegedly it has U.S. government and history, religion, biological gender differences, gender ideology, and how it's framed is that he wants to protect the classroom from radical leftist ideology and woke indoctrination. Now, what's interesting is that this superintendent is under fire for the things that is going on around here, but I just find it interesting and I want to know, would you take a test like this in order to be certified? I just want to know. So sound off in the comments if you're willing to take a test like this in order to work in a classroom, because it's already hard enough to get educators as it is. Okay. So adding extra obstacles and stuff, I don't know. I, I know that I'm not, but I'm wondering for those that are here live and those that are in the replay ministry, would you take this type of test? Okay. Now, the scandal of it all is the audacity that he wants educators to take this assessment. But the State Board of Education had a meeting, and two school board meetings said that the superintendent office TV was showing explicit new content. So let's go ahead and roll the clip because the folks are snitching. Investigations are being had right now, currently, presently, as it relates to this matter. And I want y'all to see it. So let's go ahead and roll the clip.
We're now seeing the TV in State Superintendent Ryan Walters' office and what a third-party digital forensics team found after inspecting it. This all comes after two state school board members insist they saw nude images of women on the TV during a meeting last week.
Those investigators say they need to look deeper into not just the TV, but also parts of the TV that they didn't get a look at to get all the answers. And one state lawmaker tells News 4's Spencer Humphrey, until then, it's really too early to jump to conclusions.
There actually might be one thing everyone can agree with State Superintendent Ryan Walters about this week.
A lot of questions need to be answered there.
That there's still a lot the public and lawmakers would like to know when it comes to nude images two state school board members claimed they saw playing on Walters' office TV last week.
Inappropriate content on a state-issued device is certainly a serious incident.
The state's Office of Management and Enterprise Services brought in a digital forensics team whose experts got up close and personal with Walters TV this week, trying to get to the bottom of what was playing and how it got there. In short, though, their report concluded there's just no way to know by looking only at the TV, saying the TV doesn't have the ability to log what someone is watching at any given time. We told you the board members claimed they saw multiple fully nude women doing something involving a chiropractic table. As for what Walters claimed to see, his answers have, well, changed. Last Friday, his spokesperson described it to the Oklahoman as an alleged random TV cable image. 2 days later, though, Walters said, "I have no knowledge of what was on the TV screen during the alleged incident." And then at a press conference Tuesday, he claimed he did know what was on.
What's being shown on all of your networks right now? That's what was shown on TV.
Except then someone asked, well, what network was it?
I don't know. I know it was cable TV that was on.
And we had another question.
Is this just a TV that somehow only can show cable TV?
We just had multiple investigations which showed none of my devices were ever connected to that TV.
So, a non-answer. But those digital forensics experts were able to get an answer. It's yes, the TV can show much more than just cable channels. In fact, they found old-style rabbit ear antennas and a DVD player were hooked up to it. They also found it's a smart TV. Able to connect to the internet, it had numerous apps downloaded capable of streaming content off the internet. They also found the TV had Apple AirPlay enabled, meaning anyone nearby with an iPhone or other Apple device would be able to connect to the TV and play something on it, as long as they had a passcode. They recommended a deeper forensic investigation looking at more devices, interviewing more witnesses to find the answers everyone wants.
I just want to know what happened.
Senate Education Chair Adam Pugh says he's asked Walters about it all.
So I have communicated with him, but it was just for him to be able to explain to me his perspective and what was going on. And
he didn't tell us what Walters said. He did tell us there's not much legislators can do until the facts are clear, and that until that happens, finger-pointing and name-calling doesn't get anyone anywhere.
No, I don't think it's helpful. I think what would be most helpful is just answer the questions, provide the devices if they're asked for by OMES and OSBI, and let the facts come to light.
In Oklahoma City, Spencer Humphrey, Oklahoma's News 4.
Now, as for a timeline on when the Sheriff's Office, OSBI, or OMES may finally come to a full conclusion, well, it's anybody's guess. But they all do make clear the investigation is far from over.
And yes, indeed, the investigation is still ongoing. This superintendent had a whole press conference calling for the resignation of the board members that spoke out about the inappropriate content that was shown on his TV. In fact, during the meeting, they had to alert him of it so that he could remove it from the TV. So then go and say that he was cleared of all wrongdoing. The sheriff later then comes back to say that he doesn't understand why the superintendent said that, because that is not true. It is very interesting that these are the people that are in office, and this is an elected superintendent. Okay. Yesterday on my power walk, No, that wasn't yesterday. That was Monday. Monday on my power walk, I walked through the breakdown of appointed versus elected superintendents in Florida. And you should go check out the latest episode of the power walk to see that breakdown. Because when we talk about education and how it's political, when we look at numbers like that, you can definitely see why it is political. And I want to know, what do you think he had connected to that TV? I mean, I don't think it was just some cable show that was just showing, but it's just interesting how the more that he talks, the more that there's discrepancies with what happened. And then to call for these school board members to resign after holding him accountable to what they've witnessed is wild work. And it's something that we see across the nation. We're going to get to that. So even if it was an accident, it does fuel questions about Walter's professionalism and his judgment. And again, I just want to uplift that he claimed that he was cleared of any wrongdoing, but that was not factual. Also to note, Oklahoma is ranked 50th in the nation in public education by Wallet Hub. Let me say that again for the folks in the back that may have missed it, okay? Oklahoma ranks 50th in the nation for public education by Wallet Hub. In fact, Wallet Hub has done an incomplete study on each states and where they rank. And I'm going to post the survey and the information in the chat, in the description, so that you can read it yourself, so you can see how your state measures up, because it's a lot. Okay, it's a lot. Someone in the comments said it's probably Tumblr. Absolutely not. Yes, indeed. Whatever it is, they are out investigating, and once I get an update, I will be sure to let y'all know, because something ain't right around here, and that's wild work. There's a lot that's happening in Oklahoma and also across the nation. Because why is it that you have a school bus that can't go round and round because there's some thieves that decided that the school bus was a gold mine? They stripped catalytic converters off the buses, leaving kids stranded and schools scrambling. I want to share with you what went down, because there were schools in Michigan City, Indiana, that were closed on Tuesday, yesterday, August 19th, after roughly 20 school buses were vandalized. For context, that's about 1/3 of the total bus fleet. So I actually want to navigate over to YouTube so that you could see this video of them reporting on the matter, because it's wild work to hear that people were stealing from the school bus and it shut down a whole school district.
Good evening, and thanks for joining us at 5. I'm Caroline Clapp.
And I'm George Mallet. Schools in Michigan City were closed today because thieves swiped the catalytic converters from roughly 20 school buses. When school bus drivers showed up this morning, they were unable to start their buses, and that's when the discovery was made.
And our John Kim is in Michigan City tonight with the story.
Hey there, I'm in Michigan City area school services building, and right behind me is a bus garage. And the police say about 15 to 20 school buses got vandalized. Because of that, it's been less than a week since the new school year started here in Michigan City, but students were told to stay at their homes instead of schools.
How can someone, or I don't know if it's, someone or group, how can they do that when they know it's going to affect our kids and our community?
Michigan City Area Schools District was forced to have remote classes after about 20 school buses were vandalized at its parking lot. A driver who has been with the district since 1995 told me she heard weird noise after she started a school bus around 5 a.m. today. A short time later, engineers came and saw the catalytic converter was missing. The district soon learned the converter stolen on 20 other buses, which is about 1/3 of the total school bus fleet, making the school bus operation impossible.
And this is the drop-off zone for the parents. And this morning I was wondering why the cars weren't out there. I didn't hear children. My dog wasn't barking.
This morning, the district decided to have remote classes, and students from K to 12 stayed at their homes.
On August 19th, the Michigan City area schools will be operating on an asynchronous e-learning day.
Literally this morning, right before our kids are walking to the bus, we got the news. It's very hard. It's very hard.
It's been less than a week since the school started back in Michigan City, and Mazurquet says today's been challenging for her to take care for 4 children taking classes at home at the same time.
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. I'll be completely honest. I'm downstairs right now and I have my high schooler and my middle schooler trying to do homework, and he has not got his computer yet from school. So he's trying on his iPad. It's very, very hard to do it on the iPad.
And we have some information for tomorrow's school bus schedule in Michigan City. Take a look at your screen. The district telling us Early Learning Center, pre-K and elementary schools will operate on a regular in-person schedule.
But the middle and high school students will take classes remotely as they did today. Again, parents and students, this schedule is only for tomorrow, and our news team will obviously follow up on this.
So currently, today, you have students that are in middle and high school that have to do e-learning because there were people, or maybe a person, that decided to steal all of the catalytic converters off school buses with no regard to how that would impact the children. And I just want to just take a moment here to say that that is so sad. That is so sad that people are so selfish that they are not thinking about the impact that that has on children and families. There are families that depend on that transportation to make sure that their child is getting the best education that they can receive. And because of whatever reason, whether it was the need of money, whether it was something malicious intent, don't know the reasoning behind it. While this is still an active investigation, and while there have been no arrests made and no accountability that's held for that, it is impacting the school district significantly. Again, it was 1/3 of its school bus fleet that was destroyed and stolen from. And so I just want to uplift that we can't afford things like that. And this is happening nationally, by the way, that this particular situation is not just with Michigan City. There were so many different other headlines across the nation where people are stealing catalytic converters from buses and vandalizing buses that have a detrimental impact to our children getting to and from school safely. So I just want to uplift this to say that for the people that are out here stealing, I'm sure you're not watching my content, but we have to be better humans to each other because our children deserve better. And this is an example of how actions have consequences. And it cost the school district a bunch of instructional time and transportation logistics. So I saw that and was very interested in all of it. Um, Taking this travels to Florida. Currently, right now, Florida is having their State Board of Education meeting. I felt like this would be a great time for us to actually go navigate to the website in real time live. And again, for those that are on the replay ministry, you will have access to see all the things that are happening in the meeting. But I just want to just share with you the process in order for you to see what is happening with these school board meetings. So this is the Florida Department of Education's website. I'm going to post the link in the chat, in the description, in the notes so that you have access to this information too, particularly if you live in the state of Florida and you have children that are in the education system. It is important that you know the conversations and the things that are happening. There are a few things that I'm going to talk about today that relate to this. So let's go ahead and see what's going on here. So if I click on meeting webcast, it takes me over to a new tab, which is the Florida channel. And then I can click here and let's see what they're talking about.
There's no appellate opportunity from the Education Practices Commission where the State Board of Education is involved. If anything, it would go to the First District Court of Appeals, and that would be, I know, Dave, I'm doing your job. Sorry about that. You are the general counsel. But essentially, if there is
If
a
you don't know
basis
who this
through
gentleman
what's known as
is, he is
exceptions
the new
to what took place at the
commissioner of
hearing, then that could go
education that
and
was
be challenged
appointed by
that way. Is
Governor
it
Ron
the Division of
DeSantis.
Administrative hearings first before the First District Court of Appeals, or does it go straight to the first DCA, or does it depend on the case? Okay, so it would go to the First District Court of Appeals.
I'm glad that they showed that shot of the people that were in the room. There's not a lot of people that attend these meetings and participate because they change locations, the timing, and all of that. But I want you to be intentional with these meetings, where they are and the things that they're talking about. I do want to go ahead and share with you where you could see the agenda. And this is some of the things that we're going to talk about today, because the things that they're meeting about today is actually very, very important. Okay. So this is where you can find the agenda. You can find the meetings of previous meetings. And there are a couple things that we are going to talk about today. And it's going to be number 9 as it relates to high school diplomas and certificates of completion. Okay, so let me go ahead and fix this here. All right. So on my screen here, you have the consent item that I was just telling you about that we're going to talk about with the Florida Department of Education, their state board meeting. And to the right, we have Representative Susan Valdez. Okay. Florida has rolled back the controversial certificate of completion for students. And the lawmaker behind it has everyone's attention, which is the person to my right, Representative Susan Valdez, okay, who recently switched from being a Democrat to a Republican, which stirred up a bunch of backlash, but she is credited for making this happen, and I want to break it all down, okay? So first, I want to talk about what is a certificate of completion to make sure that everyone's on the same page with the language that I'm using. So, certificate of completion, previously, students who met the credit requirements but did not pass the required assessments or whose GPA fell short would receive a certificate of completion instead of a standard diploma. It was widely seen as a fallback that didn't carry the weight of a full diploma. So students would get a certificate of completion, not completing their required state assessments or who did not have the GPA, and they would be given this paper that looks very similar to a diploma, but they can't go into the Army or the any branch of the military. They can't use it to say that they have completed their high school diploma. It literally was a sheet of paper. It did not mean anything. It did not hold any weight. And Representative Susan Valdez has been fighting about this issue for a very long time, before she became a registered Republican. So during the 2025 legislative session, House Bill 1105 amended several statutes. And now we're seeing that they are getting rid of the certificate of completion. And they are also allowing students with disabilities different rollouts and provisions to give fair opportunities and clear alternative paths to receiving a high school diploma. So I just want to give a round of applause to Representative Susan Valdez for standing on her campaign promise and her word that this was something that she was going to champion. If you don't know, she previously served on the Hillsborough County School Board, and she was elected to the Florida House in 2018, and she championed the change. So the spiciness and the tea and all of this was in 2024 in December. Valdez had switched her party affiliation from Democratic Party to Republican, and that move expanded the GOP supermajority in the Florida House, 86 to 34. Now, I want to note, just to make sure everyone is on the same page and you know, that the Florida House of Representatives has 120 members, 86 Republicans, and 34 Democrats. Okay? So the T is, though, she did try to run for chair for the Hillsborough County Democratic Executive Committee. And then when that didn't work out, then that's when she made this letter and statement that she wasn't going to be a Democrat anymore and become a Republican. But hey, she is catching heat for switching parties. But look at the policy wins. This one is hard to deny. And the question is, should we let politics overshadow the results? She got a lot of fire for her changing her political party. And the thing that she wanted done the most, she got done. And I know that there were several relationships that she had that were severed and will not ever be the same. And Representative Valdez, I know her personally. We interact with each other. So what I say on this live is also what I can say to their face. Hey, you got to do what you got to do around here. Now, the voters feel some type of way. There are some voters that are commenting on her page and calling her a traitor and things that I could not repeat due to the terms of service and guidelines for social media. But I will say that the thing that she said that she wanted to get done, she got done. And now there are no certificates of completion. So that is something that is being discussed today at the State Board of Education meeting. And I wanted to bring that up and give you the backstory and kind of highlight Representative Valdez, because she has been on the front lines with that particular issue. And to see her get that done in the political climate that we're in is amazing. So again, round of applause to her for all of that work. Okay. Amen. Amen. All right. Woo chow. So let's go and shift into these educator confessionals. This one is strictly for Hillsborough County Public Schools today. Sometimes I get things from all over, but this one in particular is just for Hillsborough, and I'm going to tell you why. As I said in the last episode, I take these things very personally because of what I experienced in the classroom. So this is what was shared. The question was, how's everyone surviving in their classrooms with these outside temperatures? And I want to read you the responses. You ready? Buckle up. It's miserable. AC just can't keep up. Our front office put box fans at the door to try and blow the heat back. Every time a door is open, it lets in the humid heat. I honestly don't understand why so many schools in Florida are built as open concept schools. Our rooms feel like saunas. The next comment, I'm hot. The classroom is hot. The kids are hot. The whole pod is hot. I laid on the floor after dismissal. It was the only cool place. Now, I just want to stop right there. This educator is in the group saying that it is so hot that laying on the floor was their only cool place. Hello? Does anybody hear me? This is wild. We have been talking about the AC issue in this school district for a very, very long time. There are so many more comments. Buckle up. This comment says, I was sweating nonstop, even with the fan in the classroom. The kids were using their binders as a fan too. Every year, it is the same. I am so sick of it. The next comment says, too hot for me. It's making me angry this morning. Another comment said, mine hit 84.5 today. 84.5 today. And there were actual receipts of thermostats in this thread as well. So it's not just educators just saying it. They're also posting what is showing on their thermostat. I just want to take a field trip back to 2023, where Chris Farkas, okay, the name sounds familiar. I've been talking about him for years, who works as operations in Hillsborough County Public Schools. Chris Farkas has been in the media saying that we are doing so much to make sure that we have AC in our schools. I just want to take a field trip to 2023. Come with me, okay? So that you can see what he said some years ago, okay? About how they was remedying this issue. So let's go ahead and roll the clip.
Over the summer, principals are still in schools. We have summer school at 100 sites. We have other things that are there. So it doesn't shut down over the summer. It doesn't shut down at night. It's just like at your house. Many of you, when you leave your house, if your set point is 76, you put it up to 78 while you're gone. Same thing happens with us at night and weekends. So it's not off. It may not run as cycle as much, but it's still on during that time. Same thing over the summer. Our deadline, as I tell our staff, is when teachers came back. So for us this year was August 2nd. So the week leading up to August 2nd, we tested every single system. We made sure they were there. But here's the one thing that you can't replicate. When teachers come back and they load their classroom, doors are open a bunch. About 60% of what air conditioning system does in Florida is take humidity out of the air. When you open a door, that humidity is right back in there. That's one thing with a teacher. But when school starts and you're in a high school and you open your doors at least every 50 minutes and keep them open while everyone comes in and out, there's also people that go to the bathroom and do things like that. So the reality is you can't replicate that in any system. So even though it's working great, Murphy's Law is there's still gonna be some things that break and things that shut down with that push. The heat of being up to 95, 97 may seem hot, but it actually is a bigger problem for us. 93 to 97 is a big difference when it comes to air conditioning systems and what they can handle. Those 3 or 4 degrees make a difference. So those two things have really pushed us this year. But I will say, our guys are working really hard and we're in a better situation this year than we were last year.
So educators, okay, I want y'all to sound off, particularly the ones that have been in the school system in 2023 when this video was published. Okay, I'll post the link so that y'all could see it. Now the district, they turned the comments off, so you can't go comment on the video, but you could comment on mine. So from 2023 till now, I want to know, has it gotten better? From the things that have been told to me, it hasn't. And this is why they have articles coming out, like the one that I showed you last episode, saying how there was so much money that was spent on fixing these AC units. And here we are still, okay? Imagine that. So I decided that we just needed to just have a conversation with Chris Farkas, okay? So let me go ahead and get prepared for that, because I called him out last episode, but it seems like I'm just going to have to keep talking to Chris Farkas until we get something together. I want people to know that heat exposure has been linked to reduced attention spans, lower memory recall, increased fatigue, and all of that influences academic engagement. Before we move on, it's time to have our praise break selection. The song is called Fix the Air, Chris. The lyrics will be on the screen for you to follow along. Let's cue the praise break.
Fix the air, Chris. Don't play with the kids. Fix the air, Chris. Don't play with the teachers. We too hot, we too tired. Lord knows we don't deserve this. Fix the air, Chris. Fix the air. We can't teach in a sauna. We can't learn in the heat. Teachers and children deserve better. So fix the air, Chris. Please, Chris Farkas, we are talking to you. Let the record show. Our children are too hot to learn. Our teachers are too hot to teach. And the AC been broke too long. Fix the air. Don't lie, don't play with the kids. Hey, fix the air, Chris. Don't play with the teachers. We too hot, we too tight, we too. Lord knows we don't deserve this. Fix the air, Chris. Fix the air. Receipts don't lie, but your words repeat. Ears in the seats still bringing heat. We don't want flawless, we just want fair. Air cold, air blowing in every chair. We can't teach in a sauna. We can't learn in the heat. Teachers and children deserve better. So fix the air, Chris. Fix it. Oh, Chris.
Chris Farkas. Chris Farkas. Fix the air, Chris. Fix it. Okay? You got a whole song dedicated to you now. Okay? And we're going to keep this thing on repeat until this situation is rectified. Chris Farkas, we are talking to you, sir. Okay? We're talking to you and your team. There's headlines out here that you are accepting gifts for proposal deals and you're going out to the Derby and all that stuff. You're going to WrestleMania and all these different events and la 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 whoop de whoop. And meanwhile, our teachers are literally talking right now about how they have to lay on the floor because they are so hot. Fix it. Fix it. Again, I don't expect perfection. Okay. And like the song says, we just want things fair. Okay. And our children and our educators should be able to come to the classroom and to be in safe working environments in order to do their job so that teachers can teach and students can learn. Amen. That's all we're asking. Okay. And we're asking you to operate in the 3 keys as it relates to that. Okay. Accountability, transparency, and integrity. Don't go to the news and say that we got all this figured out. Meanwhile, there's educators that say that their AC still is broken. Okay? We don't want to hear it. We want to see results. So, Chris Farkas, all right? We here? Cool. Fix it. Okay, so let's shift here because there's some more things that we need to discuss before I go ahead and power down because there's some transitions that are happening, baby, and I'm very, very excited for it. But Governor Ron DeSantis, he decided to have a press conference, and I'm actually going to share my screen so that you could actually see the media release that the governor has decided to post as it relates to holding these textbook publishers accountable, okay, which I found very, very interesting. So a whistleblower had came and said that there's been some discrepancies in the way that these textbook publishers are charging different school districts, which definitely had me like, it makes me wonder what these organizations and these companies are doing. So this is the press release here. I'm not going to go all into it, but I'll post a link so that you can read it yourself. But I do want to show you this video that just talks about it briefly and a point that I want to make. Okay, so let's go ahead and do this here.
Florida is now taking legal action against 2 textbook companies accused of overcharging taxpayers. Governor Ron DeSantis is pointing the finger at McGraw-Hill LLC and Savis Learning Company. He says a whistleblower complaint to the Attorney General sparked this investigation.
When textbook publishers apply to be placed in the state's adopted textbook list, they agree in writing to automatically reduce the price of instructional materials to the district school board to match reductions that have been made in other places throughout the United States of America. And that was not being done by these two textbook companies.
The Attorney General's office tells us that there have been at least 5,900 instances of overcharges. Neither company has publicly commented on the lawsuits.
Now, I just want to make this note here that when Governor Ron DeSantis had this press conference and some of the education related conferences that he has staging, that's right, in front of him. And it says the education state. And what I find very interesting to this is that he is celebrating that Florida is the education state, meanwhile, paying the educators 50th in the nation. Let me just say it again, because there seems to be some discrepancies here about how we're paying teachers in the state of Florida and how it is not right in comparison to what is actually happening. So Florida, the education state, is paying teachers 50th in the nation. Okay. And that is wild to just say out loud, and something for you to process and think about is, how are these educators getting by? Well, I'm telling you, some of our educators are truly struggling. And there are some districts that are going through contract negotiations and are fighting to get raises and compensation and just getting their steps and the time of service actually accounted for. And educators are getting the short end of the stick. I know in Hillsborough, when they changed that insurance plan, that messed up so many educators. There were so many people that reached out to me to say that the changes to the health insurance impacted their availability for medicine, doctors, and all of that. And that comes at a detriment to our educators. Again, that's trying to teach our kids. That's trying to make sure that our students have an opportunity to be prepared for life. And I'm going to keep talking about it. I'm going to keep highlighting this. I'm going to keep telling you the facts, the figures, giving you the receipts, because it is important. This is important. Our children matter. Our children deserve better. And it is wild to me how some of our state leaders are gaslighting the community to say that we're doing so well. And if you actually pull the blinders off and you pull the curtains back and actually see what's really happening here, it's sad. It is sad. So I will be sure to update you with this lawsuit that Governor Ron DeSantis is up against with these textbook publishers. And there needs to be more discrepancy and more transparency as it relates to these publishers and how they're able to get contracts and how much they are offering their services for. I know that there were some textbooks that were not allowed because it mentioned the Gulf of America. I'm sorry, no. They were rejected because they said Gulf of Mexico and not Gulf of America or just Gulf. So there's a war that's happening just in textbooks and education and the things that are in it. And it's something that people need to keep their eyes on because it is wild. It is wild. Next in the news that I wanted to share with you is the judge struck down on key parts of the Florida law that led to the removal of books from school libraries. And this is a victory for the publishers and the authors that have sued when their books were removed. Now, I do want to say that there are some books that should not be in our schools. However, there is a process for that. There's a process to make sure that that's being taken care of. And so what is happening is you have people that are targeting certain school districts and they're targeting certain books. And I don't necessarily think that that is the strategy and that is the approach. You would have people come to the school board meeting to read some of the most divisive type language possible and then say that, oh, this is what our children have access to. And then there's children that are in the room, and then you're reading this out loud on TV, and it's like, I sometimes the intent is not clear on what you're trying to do. Let's just say that. Okay. So with these book bans and these conversations, I just wanted to uplift this article so that you know that there are legal fights that are happening as it relates to these policy changes that are happening in the state of Florida, and they are so fast paced, so fast paced. So shout out to those book authors that are fighting to keep their books in schools. And again, I do think that there needs to be oversight and conversations as it relates to the type of content that's in our schools, just like I feel like there needs to be oversight with the content that's on social media. Which takes me to, is TikTok a national security risk or not? I have questions. I have questions. Okay, so TikTok has been viewed as a national threat, but yesterday the White House launched its own official TikTok account, sharing a clip of Trump saying, "I am your voice."
You are fake news.
Sir, I just want to say that you are not my voice, right? I understand that you are occupying the White House at this time, and there's allegations as to how you was able to occupy the White House, but the fact that President Trump has gone on this rampage to say that TikTok is a national security risk, it's a threat, and made sure that a law was created. The law is called Protecting Americans from Foreign Adversary Controlled Applications Act. That is the law. It was signed into law April 2024. And it mandates that TikTok must divest from its Chinese parent company, ByteDance, or face a ban. And it gave them a deadline of January 19th, 2025. TikTok filed a lawsuit. The Supreme Court upheld the law, saying that the ban does not violate First Amendment rights, which is interesting to me. Yet TikTok wasn't banned. Why? Because President Trump has issued 3 90-day delays. And the new deadline is around the corner. It's September 17th, 2025. So, as of today, the White House has its own TikTok account. And there's content that's being posted by the president. After all of the conversation about the things that are happening with TikTok, this is what we see. The caption is, "America, we are back. What's up, TikTok?" I have questions. I'm glitching because it's like all these years you say that this app is a national security risk and you say all these different things about China and all that type of stuff, and then you are literally on this app. So all I'm going to say is this, okay? For the folks that conduct their business on TikTok, whether you have monetized content or you are a TikTok seller, okay? Make sure that you save your data, okay? I'm going to post the link in the description and also the chat so that you can go to the link directly from TikTok so that you can get the instructions on how to download your data, okay? You need to do that before September 17, 2025, because we don't know what's about to happen. Because TikTok has made it clear that they're not selling, and there have been allegations that TikTok is creating their own platform for US users, which then TikTok says that that's not true. And there's a lot of misinformation, disinformation, and just a whole bunch of propaganda as it relates to that. So unfortunately, I can't tell you anything with fidelity about that. What I can tell you is that this is the link from TikTok so that you could go save your data, because according to the law, there's going to be something that happens on September 17, 2025. Whether this is pushed another 90 days for the fourth time, or buy the TikTok, I don't know. So save your data, diversify your platforms, and keep your eyes on this and be ready to shift and adapt. Okay? Be ready to shift and adapt, because it's a lot that is going on. So I want to close you with something that I'm creating. I don't have the flyer for it yet, but I will very, very soon. On August the 28th at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, I will be hosting a free workshop titled The Pressure to Sext. The Jacksonville FBI partnered with St. Johns County Sheriff Rob Hardwick and Duval County Public Schools Police Chief, and they held a press conference to alert parents, guardians, and school leadership about the sharp increase of sextortion cases and bad actors that are targeting children online. They say that the data shows a 60% increase of complaints compared to 2024. 60% of increased sextortion cases. So we're going to be talking about sexting, emoji messages, and acronyms that you need to be aware of, and some important stories to highlight, because it is a very real thing that is impacting our kids. And unfortunately, there are so many different platforms that our children are on, that they're participating in, and different apps that they have access to. And unfortunately, in this, children are being harmed. And so I want you to mark your calendars for August the 28th at 8 p.m. And it's going to be hosted by Teaching for the Culture with Check the Cell Phone. So yeah. I just want to thank you for watching Morning Tea and Allegations, participating in the chat. And I see a comment that says CapCut is involved too. Yes, absolutely. When TikTok went down in the US, CapCut also went away. And I want people to be very intentional with that, because there were people that had their content saved in drafts that wasn't posted yet. They had different things that were set up. Some even had yearly, monthly subscriptions that they were paying for these different tools and then have access to it. And so I just want to continue to uplift, to please be intentional with your data, to please make sure that you are diversifying the platforms. And it is very exhausting, because there are so many different platforms that come up with new rules as it relates to monetization and just showing yourself online. So, but this is a note that September the 17th, you need to be prepared for, if you are one of those monetized content creators or TikTok sellers. When the app went down back in January, there were some TikTok sellers that couldn't even get access to their orders and to be able to finish the fulfillment of the orders that they have. So this is just a note to just make sure that you have a flow, that you're able to get access to your customers' data and information, because there's a lot of different things that are happening. But to see the president now uplift that he has a TikTok account, when TikTok has been very clear on their stance as it relates to their platform, I don't necessarily know what is going to happen on September 17th, but I'll be sure to be right here to report and let you know. And if there's additional details, I'll be in my Patreon, and I'll be on YouTube and my different spaces on the internet so that you can get that information. I hope that you have an amazing day. I hope that today aligns with everything that you desire today. And again, I'm calling Chris Farkas out personally today because, as I said in the last episode, this is personal for me. Our educators are personal for me, particularly Hillsborough County Schools. That's personal for me. Okay. There's a special love there. And regardless of what country I live in, regardless of what zip code I might be in, I still will forever advocate for our educators and our students because I made a promise to my students in 410. Speaking of which, I'm getting messages from my students that are graduating from academies and they're doing amazing things. And I'm just so thankful to just have the impact of a teacher after all these years of not being in the classroom and still having the impact to our students. And that means so much to me. So I hope that y'all have an amazing day. Y'all be blessed. And until next time, peace. And roll the clip.